Okay, so in continuation, before I ever looked at Kurzweil's timeline, but after I was somewhat familiar with these technologies and his predictions, I wrote a short brainstorm sketch from a science fiction story I will probably never write. But the ideas are pertinent, so I'll read some of it now. So I came up with a few of these characters, and the names don't matter, but I'll read them anyways. And then what I wrote as definitions of those characters. So there was the anti-human. So this is when man first began to merge with machines. Anti-humans consist of a wide range of technologically advanced or cyborg humans. Then you've got AGI. So this is a real term, artificial general intelligence. A wide variety of AGI exists. They differ dramatically from what I call blood SAI, which is superior artificial intelligence, which I believe is also a real term, because they are self-aware AI that has evolved from studying human life and records. They have no human memories as part of their primary construction. Some AGI were not equipped to evolve into SAI. So this was important. No, I'm sorry. I'll get into that in just a second. So the blood SAI, the first real superior AI, the basis of their construction is actual human memories. So my thought on that had to do with something like Neuralink, which, if you're not familiar with, is Elon Musk's technology that I describe here in a minute a little bit, that has to do with what Ray Kurzweil is talking about creating a brain computer interface. So he's actually going to put implants, neural implants, into our brains that will access parts of our brain and help ultimately, well, Elon has all kinds of ideas about how it's going to create ways to, heal brain trauma and different stuff like that, or cure blindness or whatever. But the basic idea is that it's eventually going to help us to interface with computers, because the processing speed of a computer is so much greater than our brains are able to handle. I don't understand all the technicals of it, but that's not really necessary at the moment. But the point is this in my story idea, this what I call a blood SAI was one that essentially, instead of learning through deep learning, like gathering all our data from computers, like all of our text, all of our typing, all of our searches, all of our likes, so on and so forth, instead of gathering data that way through basically search results, this was AI that was gathering the data from our actual thoughts, which, if you can imagine the implications of that, I imagine that computers, that algorithms are going to have such a hard time, and are having a hard time right now as some of these companies are using them for censorship, deciphering human thoughts. Like, number one, they don't understand sarcasm yet, right? So for these algorithms and for this deep learning to actually, like, if we get to the point, and I believe we will, to where they're actually gathering data from our subconscious thoughts. Imagine the thoughts that people have subconsciously on a regular basis. We think the most fucked up shit because, like, all kinds of things pass through our brains. So imagine if an unadvanced or, relatively primitive, algorithm or AI is capturing all this data but doesn't understand how to process it. Like, there's no telling how it will interpret that data, especially at first. So anyway, again, I'm not technically adept, so I don't really know how that all works, but I can put two and two together, and I can extrapolate a lot of these ideas and concepts, and I personally believe it's going to be nightmarish, at least at first, probably long term. So the quick synopsis, actually, you know what, I'm not even going to read the synopsis because it's lengthy, but it walks through the process of how we're going to eventually, humans are going to start to, as we're already doing, using bionic applications and different things like that. And as Ray Kurzweil will go on to describe, how the humans that start to merge and use these technologies become vastly superior to those that don't. And what it does, obviously, very quickly, is make the humans that are not using these technologies either obsolete, inferior, or just in such a disadvantage that who knows how that's going to play out, but it's not going to be good. Certainly not going to be good for the humans that choose not to use those technologies. So continuing, this is Ray Kurzweil again. By 2099, his timeline begins like this. There's a strong trend toward a merger of human thinking with the world of machine intelligence that the human species initially created. There is no longer any clear distinction between humans and computers. Most conscious entities do not have a permanent physical presence. Machine-based models of human intelligence claim to be human, although their brains are not based on carbon-based cellular processes, but rather electronic and photonic equivalents. Most of these intelligences are not tied to a specific computational processing unit. The number of software-based humans vastly exceeds those still using native neuron cell-based computation. So that's exactly what I was talking about. So as this merger begins, and he's talking about, in our brains, the number of software-based humans vastly exceeds those still using native neuron cell-based computation. So meaning our own natural brains. Even among those human intelligences still using carbon-based neurons, you gotta love it how he talks about it, right? There is a ubiquitous use of neural implant technology, which would be like Elon Musk's Neuralink, which provides enormous augmentation of human perceptual and cognitive abilities. So exactly what I was saying. It's going to put these humans at an incredible advantage over others who don't have these technologies. Humans who do not utilize such implants are unable to meaningfully participate in dialogues with those who do. As you can imagine, the computational and processing power of the augmented humans' brains is going to be vastly superior to us stupid normal humans, natural humans. Because most information is published using standard assimilated knowledge protocols, information can be instantly understood. The goal of education and of intelligent beings is discovering new knowledge to learn. Life expectancy is no longer a viable term in relation to intelligent beings. So you can see where he's going with this. These guys believe that they can live forever. They believe that they're going to develop the technology to live forever. But as you get into it, you realize, at least I believe, that their idea of living forever really means making a digital copy of ourselves in a way that's not. They're going to try to sell it as it's ourself, but it won't be. It'll be like just a digital recreation. It'll be disgusting. But anyway, for these predictions, you can look to some themes in the movie The Matrix and very much in the movie Transcendence. So you should watch those. I mean, The Matrix is one of the greatest movies of all time. It's not exactly what I just read there, but they play on his themes a lot in The Matrix. And the movie Transcendence, I would say in so many ways, is exactly what he's talking about. And it's freaky and weird. Other great films that excellently express these ideas are the 2004 to 2009 television series Battlestar Galactica and its prequel Caprica. Phenomenal shows if you haven't seen those. And those express some incredible futurist ideas that are certainly directly out of Ray Kurzweil thinking. You can bet that everyone in Hollywood and the technology sector, whether directly or indirectly, through the general culture of those industries, are familiar with Ray Kurzweil and his vision of the future. In turn, they work to create this vision both consciously and subconsciously. And at this point, it's important to understand that I am not anti-technology, but I am 100% anti-humanism. Ray can call it transhumanism all he wants, and ultimately I believe his vision of the future will win over my hope for it. Meaning his version will win over the hope I have for my vision. But I will live and die by my faith in a human consciousness that is not human constructed. What I mean by this, while I agree that technology is basically synonymous with human evolution, so are our decisions how to utilize it. I agree with Ray that we will eventually merge with machines. Where I disagree is in how he seems to view this as an evolution. I see it as a disillusion and a deception. The process of evolution happens organically and gradually over periods of tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions and billions of years. I'm sure there have been periods of greater volatility, and I'm sure there have been beings that have evolved more rapidly than others, yet even the rapid evolution or mutation of a virus, to my knowledge, does not change the nature of the being into another being. Maybe I don't understand these things as well enough. So my argument is that when a being evolves into something virtually unrecognizable from what it has been, the process always takes thousands upon thousands of years. And again, if I'm wrong, now's the time to send me an email with a link to the facts that I may be missing. So what I'm saying is that for the first time in history, for the first time in the history of the planet, a being, humans, are deciding to try to evolve. We are making a conscious decision as a species to attempt to evolve into something unrecognizable to what we currently are. Essentially, according to Ray's vision, we will be pure consciousness, or digital representations of ourselves, or a mind that exists within a human body. Whatever he and Elon Musk believe they will build, that they believe they will build us into, it won't be human, and it won't be evolution, as far as I'm concerned. For those of you who don't know, as I've already stated, Elon Musk is developing a Neuralink technology. Basically, the neural implant technology that I referred to in Kurzweil's timeline. Musk is hoping to roll out his brain implant technology this year. If all goes well, he will be curing us all of our ails and syncing our brains with computers so that we will be on our way to total immersion and 24/7 access to the internet without making a single keystroke. Yippee. So at this point, I want to talk about how this all relates to the elite thinking that they're going to create and actively working to create a breakaway civilization. So I can't get into all the details because that's the part I haven't really written down, and I can't just, I don't have all the facts on the sleeve of my, on the cuff of my sleeve. But basically, if you take what I just read to you about Elon, or about Ray Kurzweil, and if you go and research Elon Musk and his Neuralink, and if you listen to some interviews of what he plans to accomplish with this Neuralink technology, and I'm not even sure which ones of these people, they probably don't all even know what they believe. But they listen to a guy like Ray Kurzweil, and Hollywood creates these movies, and they've taken elements of fact, and to be honest, I believe that they're going to accomplish what they want to accomplish. The problem is when we get there, it's not going to be the world that they believe it's going to be. Humans will merge with machines. That, I think, is unquestionable. But what it will be like when we do is what I think they've got all wrong. Now, again, I think it would be foolish to try to predict how this is going to play out. And I think it would be foolish to try to predict the incremental steps and what it's going to be like as humans do progressively interact more and more with AI. All of that will happen. It's already happening. And that's why these guys are so confident about where they're going, at least in part. The other part of that is the real discoveries and advancements in things like nanotech and biotech, because they're beginning to be able to do things that can modify our DNA now and very soon in the future, that they will be able to create new beings. Now, Will those beings be abominations? I think it is highly probable, at least in the near future. I don't think they're ever going to achieve the kind of creations that they think they're going to. Whether you call it God or just natural evolution, I think what human beings are attempting to do right now and believe they will be able to do is their delusions of grandeur, and their overestimations and overcalculations about the potential for human knowledge and ability. Now, I do think that when we become ever increasingly aided by machines and AI, as it already is going to give us a knowledge like we've never been able to possess before. And part of that will just be because we're going to be able to continue to access AI as AI begins to learn more and more independently. AI, as they already predict, will be able to exponentially grow in its understanding of the universe. And as that takes off, as they've already told us, that we have absolutely no idea what that's going to be like. Now, I will stop here because we could go all day long as to where that's going to go. But these are the questions that have to be asked and thought through more than they are being now. Because what it ultimately is going to mean is that humans will lose control. And if we don't start asking these questions as a public now, the world is going to be built in a way that we have no way of turning it back. So let's think about that.